Hello, everybody. It's Alex Guthrie with Fly Fish Fork. Uh, I'm a fly fishing guide on Lake Fork in East Texas. Also, guide on some surrounding lakes in the area. And I'm starting up this weekly live stream to do my weekly fishing report, which actually I send in to and is published by Texas Parks and Wildlife every week. Um, this week, we're going to talk about not only some of the fish that we're catching and how we're catching them, but I'm going to show you some of the flies that I'm using, and we'll talk about some of my techniques that I'm using as well. It's been a great week out here. I'm gonna put these glasses back on. I can't see anything. Um, it's been a great week out here. Uh, we're in post spawn, so the fish are pretty lively, pretty aggressive. We've had really good weather for it as well. We've had a lot of cloudy weather, which keeps them up shallow during the day, but they're now kind of getting shady. And what I mean by that is they're looking for shade during the middle of the day when the we don't have any clouds. Right now, we just have bluebird days, and they're a little spookier. They're also now I'm talking about the black bass. I'm sorry. I focus mostly on black bass this time of year for sure. We're also catching some brim. We're also catching catfish. So we'll talk about all that here coming up. On the black bass front, the bass are coming out of the spawn. There are still some big females on the beds if you look hard enough and you spend enough time looking at them all day. But the spawn for the most part is over with. It always drags on a little bit. We're having a little bit of cooler weather where the water's staying a little bit more into the temperature range that they like, and so they're going to continue spawning. Sometimes you'll have waves of spawning activity that'll last a couple of months. That's kind of where we're at right now. So if you look hard enough, you'll find them on beds, but it's getting harder because the weeds are growing now, the plants are coming to life, and the lake is sort of filling in around the edges. And so it's a little more difficult to find those fish. I don't like fishing spawning fish. I don't have the patience for it. And I quite frankly think it's better to let those fish spawn out, leave them alone. Let's have lots of babies for next year. So it's sort of how I feel about it, but I'm not judging anybody that does. I have good friends that spend a lot of time chasing those spawning fish. So I totally get it. So let's talk about the bass and what they're doing. The black bass are in sort of three stages. They're in their spawning, then they're in the post spawn, and they're also moving into their summer stage, which is where they're going to be focusing on uh, cover when the sun is up and getting a little deeper when the sun is up. They'll be doing a lot of more suspending and, of course, chasing shad. You'll see more surface action, which I'm starting to see, and you'll see them uh, anywhere from shallow to to maybe 10 feet deep. I know there's a lot deeper fish, but the fish that I'm going for, the maximum I would fish is 10 feet, and I don't do that much in the summer anyway. I get plenty of good fish in shallow. So the bass are biting a lot of topwater, but you have to throw topwater that's weedless, and you have to be very meticulous about it, and you have to be ready to cover a lot of ground. They're not on a cloudy day. I just put a video up last week where I caught 6 or 7 fish in the span of about an hour, and it's a great video if you want to see it. It's on my YouTube channel, and check it out. And I'm throwing a topwater one that I'm going to show you today. The bass are sort of in that real shallow water phase, but they're also real spooky because they've had people standing, staring at them, throwing stuff at them now for 5 or 6 weeks, standing up in their boats, going, right on top of their beds, and so they're pretty flighty. They're spooky, and so you'll see a bunch of fish, but you won't be able to get them to bite because they're already well educated by the fishermen. And so you're going to have to make real long casts, and you're going to have to be very patient. Now, I like smaller baits sometimes when they get like this, but I think you just have to feel for what they're doing. I also will get some top water hits, but it's hard to do because when they hear that thing hit the top, they immediately scutter on out of there. And so if you've got a lot of cover, if you have a lot of weeds or something like that where you're fishing them, then you can probably get a, you'll get two or three, but you'll have to move a whole lot to find them because they're so spooky. Now, what I do on days like this is I'll move off to isolated cover. I also have a video on that if you want to check that one out from last summer. Isolated cover will be where if you're facing the bank and you're kind of fishing the bank, you turn around and fish the other direction, and you're going to fish the stick ups that are in the water, the stumps that you can see, things like that. A lot of times they're holding there. Now, I've been catching quite a few smaller fish around the root balls of these trees in shallow water. I just let my fly drop down into that zone around the bottom of that stump, and they just come out and they hit it pretty fast. They're smaller fish, but they're fun to catch, and it kind of get your numbers up so you can brag a little bit to your buddies. Um, and now let's talk about brim. Brim are starting to spawn. We're catching them. I don't know if they're on beds. I can't see yet. I haven't really seen any beds, but I've seen what looks like they're prepping. Um, but man, we have got some big old red-breasted sunfish in here, and they are super aggressive. They don't like having anything near the area they're going to nest, and they'll come up and hit anything coming their way. If they see even a regular big bait, like I might throw a big uh, frog over them, and they'll still come up and hit it because they're real territorial this time of year. So the brim or fishing, I think, is going to be excellent. I just need the water to clear up a little bit where I can see their beds and I can kind of get an idea of what they're wanting. I think, of course, as the summer goes on, they like it hot and they like it sunny. I guess that's why they call them sunfish. Um, so get ready for some really great brim fishing, and you can I just use a real light rod, real light leader, although they don't seem to be super line sensitive, but they might get that way. Once they see you, if you're standing in your boat, you see a bed and you catch two or three, they'll probably quit biting because they figure it out pretty quick. So that's the brim fishing. Now, along with the brim, the catfish are about to move up and have started moving up into shallow water. I'm catching beautiful catfish while I'm fishing for brim and bass on those same flies. So if you want to really have a lot of fun, you put a clouser on, a small clouser, and throw it around some brush and some tree, stumps in the shallow water, and you'll probably come up with some catfish. They're a lot of fun to catch, and of course, they're a lot of fun to eat. So give that a try. So that fishing report would hold true on basically Lake Fork and Bob Sandlin together. There's a lot of similarities in water temperature and water clarity, and the wind affects them about the same. So this year on Lake Fork, we seem to have a whole lot more plants, a lot more vegetation in our lake than we've had in years, which is a good thing. And I think it's just because the lake has been up the last 2 or 3 years. It's been up near capacity starting the summer, and that's allowing these plants to get reestablished. We didn't have any for a long time, so we're really glad to see them. And that's going to sort of dictate what we do through the summer. Now, I will tell you that as what's normal on Lake Fork is that my evening bite is generally my best time and that'd be about the last 3 hours of light. When the sun hits the top of the trees, the fish start coming out from their cover looking for bait. Um, this is when you can get about 30 minutes, 45 minutes of good, solid action, and then some sporadic action up until dark. Now, you can fish dark, but that's a whole nother story. I'll do another video on that, and that because that really takes you into late in the night. Fishing at night with a fly rod is a gas, I've got to tell you. So um, I'll do a video on that later. So let's talk about a few things. I don't want this to last forever. So I'm going to go over some of these flies that I'm using. One of my main flies right now is this hollow tie streamer right here. This is a shad color, but I'm using it's hard. I've got the fake background on, and so it has to sit here and catch it just right. Ah, there it is. The hollow tie streamer. Now this guy is a shad color, but I'm also using a baby bass pattern, and I'll use some lighter patterns. A lot of it is dictated by the clarity of the water, and one of the color. Every lake seems to have a certain color that the fish react better to. Sometimes on Lake Fork, a yellow and black streamer or yellow and black topwater is the ticket. I think it's just that the color of the water, they see that color a little bit better. For some reason, they react to it better. But also, anytime you can use a shad color because that's their natural bait. They'll go after that too. Another, when I'm having a tough day and I just can't get anything to bite, I pull out the old game changer. And this is an articulated um, fly. Many of you have used them. You know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you should give them a try. They're kind of, here we go. So it's not the easiest thing to tie, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. I can tie them pretty quickly. And those things look just like real fish. They have great movement in the water, and often if I can't get the fish to bite anything else, that's what I'm going to go for is the game changer. Now, one of my secret weapons that I'm using is just a good old. It's almost like a Dahlberg. It's a bad imitation of a Dahlberg that I tie, and it's a popper, deer hair popper, and on this one I have a rabbit tail. One of the keys to this is that it has a real narrow face. And what that does is when I strip it, it pulls down into the water and it creates a lot of air bubbles and a lot of noise. They really like that. That will bring a reaction often. And I have this little weed guard on here. And that little weed guard, if you pull it soft enough, you can pull it right through most weeds. It'll still get hung up every now and then, but not nearly as much. It still allows the fish to get, the hook to get in the fish. If you don't do the right type of weed guard, if you put too much weed guard, I call it a lip guard, and that's what happens is you can't hook the fish. You can get them to bite them, but you can't get a hook in them. These top waters are working really well, so give them a try. Also, I have this little. It's a little kind of mouse. It's a kind of a gurgler, but it's sort of a mouse pattern. And you can see I've got this tail on it that's again is rabbit fur, and I've got a weed guard on it. And this dude catches fish. I'm telling you. And anybody that tells you you have to have a giant bait to catch big fish, I got news for you. They'll hit these things just as fast. They don't care. They're just hungry. So those are my flies that I've been using this week. Other than the brim flies, which I forgot to grab, so I'll just do that next week and when they get biting better. I have put up a couple of videos, fishing videos that just kind of show you how the fish are biting, and hopefully you'll visit those, and hopefully you'll subscribe and enjoy what we're doing here. I'm just kind of getting this channel cranked up again. I had personal uh, things going on last year, and I had to kind of pull back from everything. But I think I'm over the hump on that. I'm able to spend more time doing this. Plus, I have a computer that allows me to do it, which I didn't have before. My last computer, the camera didn't work, the speakers didn't work, and it was held together with duct tape. So I finally changed that. So here we are. We're back, and please leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything you need to talk about. We can talk about leaders, rods, best time of day, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you need to know, and I'd be glad to help you if I can. Also, if you want to book a trip, go to Alex at flyfishfork.com and contact me. Also, you can call me. Just go on Google, and all you have to do is Google fly fishing on Lake Fork, and I'm the only fly fishing guide on Lake Fork that's on Google. So check that out, and I look forward to hearing from you. Look forward to having your comments. Thank you very much, and have a great day, and good luck and tight lines.